Today, we have on the show Sreeraag Gorty. He is a visionary AI leader driving cutting-edge innovations at Verzi Innovation, the parent company of Daily Hint. He brings over a decade of experience and also worked with leading tech giants like Cisco and IBM, blending industry depth with agility. An alumnus of Reply T Bangalore, he stands at its intersection of academic excellence and real-world AI deployment. He works on pioneering the use of generative AI to revolutionize digital content for India's diverse multilingual audiences. Let's welcome him to our show. Hello, Sreeraag. Welcome to Crunchy AI Talks.
Hey Keetana, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good.
All right. We'll now start off with rapid fire questions. Okay.
Yeah.
AI in one word?
Transformative.
Wow, that's very nice. Tea, coffee, or code?
Tea and code.
Very nice. Tea with code, probably, right? Very nice. Indian startups that you admire?
Should be Zerodha.
Oh, very nice. And any reason beyond that?
So I think the way they kind of showed the way for how frugal they can be and how profitable they can be and what are the kind of different things that they are now into, I think that's great.
Yeah, and probably within very less short time, in fact, they've grown to a very bigger extent as well.
Yeah, and I think they're also doing a lot of, so for example, I follow Nitin and Nikhil Kamath very closely. They do a lot of very interesting podcasts. They're very, very informative.
Very nice.
Then with Rain Matter Foundation, they're doing a lot of great stuff, supporting other startups in the ecosystem. Yeah, so I think they have built a great company with such a nimble team. That's one part. And then after that, they were able to, take that capital and then deploy in places where it's really interesting.
Great. That's very insightful information. Now I know you have 2 kids and then you have a lot of responsibilities. Now if I take away all of the responsibilities and give you 18 months and 18 crore rupees towards the AI world, what would you do?
I mean, first of all, 18 crores in today's startup, this thing is, I think, probably nothing, but sure. So I think one thing that AI has enabled is for anyone and everyone to just take out the complexities of building. Right? So I think probably what I do is set up boot camps for college students, pick up top colleges and then set up boot camps and then pick up the best people who are showing inclination. I think the only thing that is needed is inclination.
Absolutely.
So pick up students who are showing that desire to learn and build something, and then probably I'm very sure there will be something that's very meaningful that will come out of that whole journey.
Okay, bootcamp it is. Very nice. Choose one AI gadget which is the coolest that you have seen so far.
Every week I keep finding something. So I think latest was a Chinese tool called Manus. That's basically a agentic development tool that has a bunch of things underneath, but again, so it has a computer inside it. So you can just give it a task. And so, for example, what I was trying out was I wanted to just pick up CricBus commentary and then convert it to Indian languages.
Oh.
Right? So I was just playing around with it and it failed, but I think the whole process of what it did was very fascinating.
Great. For me, if you ask, that's Google, specs that's coming up. I mean, it seems very interesting the way I can use it in my day-to-day life. But let's see. I mean, there's a lot of innovation happening out there. Moving on, ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, which one you use the most?
It'll depend on the use case. So if I'm coding Sonnet, Claude is my go-to. If it's anything visual and multimodal, then it's Gemini. For anything text and deep research or anything that involves thinking, I go to GPT.
Very nice. Very informative answer. Most AI disrupted industry soon would be?
Pretty much every industry. But I think that with, again, so I used to very passionately debate about call centers being so bad with respect to how they are able to understand the user problem and give a solution. Right? So from that point of view, I think with what I have seen with respect to what AI can enable, but I think call center industry and the whole customer service ecosystem is going to fundamentally get transformed, no doubt about it.
And most of it is already transformed. Today, if I go to any e-commerce app that I'm using, I just have to raise a ticket, and then photos they'll analyze automatically, and then they're able to solve my problem. Is it a refund scenario or just not? So I mean, it's great.
Yeah, it's still robotic. So
Yeah.
they still fall back to a human agent in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
I think that's we are very soon going to see a whole of that change, and I think AI agent probably will be able to be more empathetic and will be able to comprehend a user question better and answer it well than probably an average customer service agent.
No, that is definitely true, because I always keep thinking, right? A human will exhaust by the day progresses, right? But then when you take a robot, it will never have that exhaustion into the picture. So that's soon a pretty much thing that can happen. Now, moving on, will AI create more jobs or kill more jobs?
No one has an answer. So I think world has seen a few fundamental changes in the course of, let's say, last 400-500 years, right? Industrial revolution was one of that, and I was watching a podcast recently where he was the speaker was mentioning that 100 years back, 200 years back, if you ask the question on what would most of the people do, they would have said agriculture, right?
Correct.
So now, I mean, India aside, I think most of the world is not working on anything that is traditional, right? So from that point of view, industrial revolution was one such change. There were a lot of paradigm shifts that happened. Computing revolution, kind of every revolution, I think we've tried to answer this question on, hey, is this the moment where people will run out of jobs? We didn't. But I think, yeah, one thing that is in our hands is to constantly upgrade, constantly learn. I think there's never a better time for it.
Yeah, absolutely right. When I was attending the AI Days conference that happened recently, this was actually compared to an era where photography came into the picture and artists were losing their job. Okay, so that was actually termed to be the most revolutionary thing that has happened with respect to camera coming into the picture. Now, phone has actually replaced like around 20-30 devices which are there in the market recently. So, a lot of things are rapidly changing. So, we don't know where it goes, but yeah, absolutely right. We have to keep, learning, getting crust of the knowledge that is there, which is absolutely true. And that's what probably I'm doing in this podcast in terms of getting all the information from the industry leaders into the young generation, so we can evolve better and use better in terms of what we have. Moving on, will we see ASI in our lifetime?
You mean artificial general intelligence?
Artificial super intelligence, which is like 10,000 times more powerful than human minds, is what that.
So if you look at how quickly it's able to answer and how quickly it's able to write code also, right? So I think the 10,000 times is already happening in some point, right? But then I think it's not going to be a single event. We are definitely in that direction. I think each and everything that you can think about today is being touched by generative AI. So I think it's a journey. I think will it happen in our lifetime? Maybe yes. I don't know. I think I'm very, very optimistic about how these things are evolving and how fast these things are evolving.
Correct.
So I think we are in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I agree with you, but most of the professionals today are not agreeing to this, which is what I've understood from the conference. But then I definitely agree with this, right? We are not too far away from the ASI coming into the future. Maybe 5-10 years, I see that coming into the act, and self-driving cars and whatnot. There are a lot already in the world. So moving on, what do you think is the must-have skill in this AI era?
Agility and adaptability.
Perfect.
Right, so I think if you are not agile, if you're not learning, if you are stuck to your egos, I think God save you. But I think if you are willing to learn, if you are open to embracing what's coming your way, I think no better time. And then I think all of the hurdles are gone now, right? So
Correct.
It's so easy to get information. It's so easy to understand information. So yeah.
Good. Okay. What is that one AI tool which you use daily?
Again,
Depending on your use.
It gets changes. It gets changed every week. But Perplexity has been one of those tools that I keep going back to in terms of whenever I need some information that is backed by facts, right? Because again, I keep using these tools day in day out. I know what are the kind of hallucinations, what are the problems that non-grounded tools give you, right? So from that point of view, publicity gives you that confidence that it is cited, and there is a lot of human information validation that is happening against what are the answers that are getting generated.
Perfect, perfect. Moving on, what is the biggest ethical issue with AI today?
So I think the whole AI generated videos, right? So I think even that is evolving very fast. But if you see today, I can take any two random people and then do anything with them, right?
Correct,
so
correct.
there is no guardrail at all, right? I think while there are watermarks, etc., that the big tech is coming up with, I think we are probably very far from making misinformation not a threat, right? With AI. So I think we've already seen some of that being played out in our Indian elections, US elections, manipulation, and people are not. So if emotions come into play, it's very easy to play with those, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
from that
absolutely.
point of view, that's very scary.
Yeah, true. Correct. Moving on, what is the funniest AI output that you have seen?
Again, I think probably I'll go back to the video use case itself, right? So when I think the Trump and Jalinski face-off had happened in the White House, there was a meme that came up where they get off their chairs and keep getting to a fist fight, right? So I think that was very funny.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so one tip that you want to give for the AI startups?
So I think building has never been this easy, right? That's a boon, and that's probably going to come back at you as well, right? So I think if you have the right idea and execution, building has become easy. So I think focus on ideas.
Good, correct. So now moving on, if you consider AI, do you see it as a threat or a teammate?
If you see that as a threat, then you'll not embrace, right? So then you're losing out to a lot of use cases that will help your productivity. So teammate definitely.
Perfect. What do you think is overhyped with respect to AI today?
Probably I'll go back to our previous question, right? HA maybe. So I think so if a part of that hype is coming from people not understanding what is at play, right? So I think that's why there's a lot of hype. I think probably world saw .com bubble when internet and .com was a real thing. It was solving a lot of problems. It was creating a lot of businesses, but then there was hype around it as well.
Correct.
Similarly, I think even with AI, right? So I think the whole of the Gen AI wave that we are seeing right now, there is a lot of fluff, there is a lot of hype, but there is a lot of value as well. Right?
Correct,
So
correct.
I see both of these evolutions as very common.
Perfect, sounds good. What is that aha moment that you have seen in AI?
Probably the first time that I used the ChatGPT application, right? So 3.5 years of whenever it came, I think I very rarely post something on LinkedIn, but after I started using it for a while, and then I started to see the value, I think I immediately went on to LinkedIn and posted about it that, hey, this is going to be something very, very fundamental, right? So I think that first, again, there have been a lot of aha moments after. So for example, manners that I was talking about was an aha moment. The Google's VO2, the video generation capabilities that came up, I think when we tried out and generated a few videos out of it, I was blown away, right? So all of that are there,
Yes.
but I think nothing that beats the initial ChatGPT
Absolutely.
experience.
For me, the way it was actually generating the images with the prompts that we give, how realistic, and then it's also there are few applications which are generating GIFs as well. The other day my colleague was trying, like, take the owl, make it sleep, and then wake up, and then do such kind of. It was absolutely taking that prompt and able to generate everything on the go. So that generation of something on the go was absolutely wonderful. Move on. What's keeping you up in the night about the AI?
I keep having this head. So whenever I am in between something and then crash, that keeps ringing in my head. So a lot of in the course of my work, we keep trying a lot of stuff, and even outside of work, generally, a lot of traditional use cases are being transformed, right? So we pick up a use case, we get to 90%. The rest of the 10% is very,
Absolutely.
very, very irritating, right? And that's where the whole learning is, right? So in that process, I think lots of thoughts in my mind on what can be done, what can we do differently, what else can we try, what are we missing. So that's constant hustle.
Yeah, which is true. Now, if you have to suggest one book or a blog to our audience, what would that be?
So I'm not into books, so I typically get my bites of information from either podcasts or LinkedIn or Twitter or all these sources. But there is one blog which basically takes all of these and then summarizes using
Wow.
GPT,
Uh-huh.
and then so it's a AI news newsletter by small AI, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, I think, and then sends an email to me. So every day I get an email which is a summary of the top guys who are tweeting about AI, top LinkedIn guys who are writing about it, top blog posts, everything. So it summarizes everything and gives a daily summary for me.
Oh, very nice. In fact, there was one feature which was launched yesterday in LinkedIn, I guess, and then it went away. I don't know why, but on the top there was one news article kind of a mode. When clicking on it, top 10 news in LinkedIn is what was actually getting prompted. Somehow it's not there now, but then they're going to release that soon, is what I feel.
Yeah, you're probably in their A/B test segment.
Probably. So that's one thing which is very interesting, because LinkedIn is the go-to app for me when I have to learn something, and if that's also including this top 10 feature, that's like, everything is one place kind of a thing. Moving on, what excites you most about AI in next 5 years?
So, about all of the industries that will probably potentially get transformed, right? So I think so we spoke about customer service. I think healthcare is one domain that I think I'm expecting to see a lot of changes happening. But yeah, so I think just very, very excited to see the kind of transformations that each of the industries that we know of, the traditional industries, will see. Again, I think it will also mean that people have to embrace it.
Correct.
So once that happens, and once the might of the Indian service industry picks up these trends and embraces them, and then goes to their clients and pitches the digital transformation, the AI transformation. I think we are still talking about digital transformation through most of the Infosys, Tech Mahindras, Cognizant of the world, right? So I think I'm really looking forward for the Indian IT to pick up these trends and then pitch to clients and then show them the value.
Right, correct. So in fact, when I was dreaming, right, there's one dream that I kind of see is in future there'll be stores where there'll be mentioned no AI, just human kind of a thing, wherein you still have that real human picture or that continuing. But yeah, definitely there's a lot that's gonna be replaced with AI, and then with a lot of excellence and precise in nature, right? When you trust a machine, it can do everything precisely. That's what probably a human at some point is lacking, and then that's what it's getting replaced, I guess.
Yeah, but I think slightly different take, right? So I think if we are praising AI so much and demeaning ourselves, that's not fair. Being
This is
fair
true.
to us. I think still one thing that will never get replaced is the creativity. They are not creative, right? So we are. So I think the way, at least in the near future that we need to look at these tools is that we are the masters and they are the executioners, right? So I think that is very important to have. So I think that way, you are still in control of what is happening.
Correct.
I think I love the way Microsoft branded all of their AI products as co-pilots. Right?
Correct.
There is a reason for it. I mean, you are the pilot, you have a co-pilot with you, right?
Correct.
So everybody has to look at it that way. That is when they will be really able to internalize what are the productivity gains or whatever that come with it.
Perfect. See, to add to this, right, why I kind of phrased it that way is it was termed in few of my discussions that human help would be termed as an executive experience, not to anyone. It's not normal. It's executive experience, or it is a premium experience is what they call, right? Now, coming to one more point, which you have rightly emphasized, is humans should be in the loop. There are a lot of things that are happening today where human is not in the loop with respect to AI, and that's where the threat has started. Now, if human is involved and if we really use AI as our co-pilot, that would be the best to this industry. But if a human is removed from the loop, that's where the job crisis and all of these are coming into the picture. Now, looking forward to see how it goes, but I'm all in for human being in the loop, right?
Yeah.
Moving on, if you have to, categorize what is harder, building a good module or building a good data, what is harder?
Data. So I think
Okay.
models and stuff can be built, right? But the harder part and the whole world values that already is data, right? So Twitter and Facebook are valued so differently because Facebook and Google have the data of pretty much every human being on the world.
Right.
And again, I think even in the course of us building models for different use cases, that's what we figured out, right? So you take model A and model B, replace model A with model B, probably you will get gains. But if your data is not true to what the models are supposed to understand, I think the whole experiment or project will go for a toss.
Which is correct. See, with the business analyst mindset that I have, if I have to think about it, what are all the possible scenarios that a data should actually be there for my model to be tested? Now, like you rightly said, replacing the model is easy, but then identifying all the possible scenarios and having the data for those scenarios is what matters, because in the health industry, if you look at, every human being is different, and building the customized solutions or making one medicine work to everyone is not happening, right? So that's what is where the key is, and if that's solved, I believe most of it is solved. Now, one last question. Do you think AI can help solve the climate change that we are encountering today, just like a biggest issue?
So there are a lot of orthogonal use cases that people are deploying AI on, right? So I think was it dolphins? So Google had released a model that understands dolphin sounds better, right? By the way, dolphins are supposed to be one of the most intelligent creatures on Earth, right? So they communicate with each other, but
Right.
then
We can't
it's just that we don't understand the language,
Yes.
right? So that's one use case where nobody would have thought that people would deploy the cutting edge tech, right? So from that point of view, I think simple answer to that is that every problem in the world will be so you have a co-pilot. So I'm definitely hoping that there are smart people that are working on it whose productivity will be enhanced, whose thinking, co-thinking, etc. will be enhanced with these tools. So yeah, I think will AI solve it? I don't know, but there are smart people who will leverage the tools and will be able to come up with good solutions.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Sreeraag, for a very insightful session. We really had a lot of information from your brain into ours. We'll soon have a lot of more catch-ups with you, so we can, explore and dive into your brain to get a lot of insights to our channel. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I think it was supposed to be rapid fire, but my answers were probably so long.
That's okay. That
Thank you so
doesn't
much.
matter. Thank you. Thank you so
I
much.
had fun.